a video that's been in the pipeline for a couple of weeks, and for you sad souls, it's finally here. Five signings I would like Sunderland to make. Now, I want to reiterate a few things before I start. Firstly, this is just my own opinion, and as long as you're respectful about it, feel free to disagree in the comments below. As usual, I don't have a problem with people disagreeing with me. It's just the manner and the tone in which they do it that is something that would annoy us. But if you disagree respectfully and put your list below, then feel free to do so. That'll be much appreciated. Secondly, obviously, like I keep saying, I'm trying to get a 5k subs in the near future, and nearly half of the people on, according to the analytics, that watch my videos aren't subscribed. So if you could hit that subscribe button if you think I've earned a sub from you, that would be really appreciated. And lastly, a lot of these players we may not even go for, but these are players that I'm trying to keep in perspective of our financial, what's am I looking for? Probably restrictions to an extent, or certainly ones that, in terms of outright transfer fees, shouldn't cost that much money. Spoilers, if you don't like loan deals, you might want to click off this video because the first three options that I'm going to suggest are loan deals. But, likely two of them definitely would be loan deals and one of them potentially a permanent, but it would only be if we sold Jack Clark. But regardless, I'll get into that when I get with. But I've wasted enough of your time. It's not what you're here for. Let's get into the 5 players I would like someone to sign this summer. So the first one, and it's one where he has just returned from a loan spell from the MLS, and he is linked to Premier League club Sheffield United, as well probably a number of Championship clubs, I would imagine. But that player is Lewis O'Brien from Nottingham Forest, central midfielder. Now, obviously, our model, we usually go for players that are either 24 years of age or younger, because I think Alex Bass was 24 when we bought him, and he is someone who has generally, he's someone that we paid money for, and he was 24 at the time, I believe. Now, with Lewis O'Brien, all these stats are according to Transfer Market. So if this isn't a reliable site, then please tell me below if there's any better ones to use in the future. But based just off stats, Lewis O'Brien has had 3 successful seasons with Huddersfield. Well, at least where he comes call success, keep them in the Championship, but then nearly get into the Premier League. Anyway, he's got 123 Championship appearances to date. He is someone who apparently is quite versatile. He can play central midfield, defensive midfield, attacking midfield, but he's also someone who's 24 years old. Now, this is someone that would fit the model with what we're doing, but he's also available for either a permanent deal or a loan, at least according to Pete O'Rourke, I think it is. Now, again, if that's not a reliable source, then fair enough, take that with a pinch of salt. But if that does happen to be true, then he's someone that, especially on loan, which should be well within our reach, we should be looking to go for. And I know Acacia in particular, love you Acacia, she'll be saying Sheffield United going for it, but with all due respect to them, I think Sunderland will offer more guaranteed playing time, and I think as much as I love Pierre Ekwa and Daniel, by the way, I love both of those players, but it's a long Championship season. There's 46 games. A worst-case scenario, well, hopefully it's a worst-case scenario that we're in the playoffs, that we then have another 2 games at least on top of that, and you're going to get injuries. With our luck with injuries, it's guaranteed we're going to get a number of injuries at some point. So for me, I think if there's one area of a bit more experience or proven experience that I would like, it is in central midfield. I'm not as big a believer in that we don't have any experience or enough experience thing that a lot of people like to do. But if central midfield is one area I would like to have a bit more experience if we are to add anyone with experience. And again, his age works with the model. He could be available for a loan deal, which wouldn't be anywhere near as cost effective as it would be for a permanent one. And he's someone that I think would add quite a bit to the team. So the first one is Lewis O'Brien from Nottingham Forest. The second option, now this is one that, again, I only just saw that apparently Everton are interested in this lad, but he's someone called Anthony Elanga from Manchester United. Now, am I going to lie to pretend I've seen him play? No, I haven't. However, let's be honest, we need depth in terms of out wide. Now, with Amad Diallo going back to Manchester United, and by the way, can people please stop trying to get my hopes up, because I really have accepted he wasn't coming back, and people aren't helping by getting my hopes up. Anyway, but with Anthony Elanga, Amad Diallo could play a role here. He could really reiterate to Anthony Elanga how good his experience was at Sunderland, and how he would be better going there for his development. Now, apparently Everton want him, so it depends if he wants to stay in the Premier League. And I know he's played a handful of games in Europe, but again, it's not the same as regularly starting games. And for me, I think Sunderland would definitely give him regular game time, which is what Manchester United are looking for. And remember, we could be building a close relationship with Man United for taking some of their youngsters on loan, and then improving them as players. So with Anthony Elanga, I definitely think that this is a deal that should be looking to be realistic. And if you come in, he would thrive. Obviously, in the fact that I believe he's a winger, so he would thrive in the system that we're playing. And if he can get the similar link to Patrick Roberts that Ahmad had, then we could be in for a treat here. But whether people think that's realistic or not, I don't know. But personally, for me, I don't see why it shouldn't be realistic. But Anthony Elanga likely on loan from Man United, and as I said earlier on, the only way I see that being a permanent deal potentially is if we sold Jack Clark for a big fee. And even then, Man United would probably want a fair chunk for Elanga. So it just depends how badly they want to get rid of him. These sort of deals that I'm mentioning are probably more likely to happen later in the window. But again, players I think we should be looking at. The third option, is a player that a year ago some of our fans wanted us to sign, but MK Dons wanted around 4 million for him, which I thought, considering he hadn't played any championship football at that stage, was a lot of money. But now that Burnley have gone up, I think it's someone we should be looking at. Scott Twine. I've noticed that he obviously had a bit of bad luck with injuries last season with Burnley, but he made 14 appearances and got 3 goals and 1 assist, including 1 goal I think was an injury time free kick winner, or a late winner from a free kick against West Brom. But he's someone that I think would offer a bit of creativity. And look, it's going to be difficult replacing Amad Diallo, but we're good. But again, like with Elanga or even Scott Twine, I think these are players that will be contributing. And a loan deal again from Burnley, I don't think wouldn't be as cost effective. Wouldn't cost as much as a permanent one rather. Burnley have just gone up to the Premier League. Now, are they going to want to use Scott Twine? If they want, I've seen a couple of Burnley fans saying Scott Twine can be near the team. But for me, I think there's a chance that Sunderland could get this deal done. And for me, he's someone that in the bits I've seen of him out of the Championship, I think he probably does have enough to contribute towards a team near the top of the table. I mean, Burnley saw something in him. Vincent Kompany saw something in him. If Burnley want to use him for the Premier League, then we've got no chance of getting him. However, if there's a chance he's available for loan, Sunderland should be all over this. But anyway, right, the next one. Now, the last two are strikers. Because let's be honest, this is the area of the pitch we need to strengthen the most. However, one of these signings, I think, is going to probably turn quite a few people off. And let's get onto that right now. Signing number 4, and I know some people straight away are going to say no, Josh Maja. Now, I know that people will argue, 1, the way he left the club was a disgrace, he's burnt his bridges, and 2, he hasn't done much since leaving Sunderland. For me, I think if you remove the way he left, and don't get me wrong, I'm a big critic of the way he left the club. I think he could have stayed if he really wanted to sign a contract. And a lot of this depends on whether he's still got the same agent. If he's still got the same agent, then forget it. It definitely wouldn't. I think it's much less likely to happen because the agent will try and hold us to ransom instead of thinking about what's actually best for Maja's career. But regardless, with Maja, he obviously was good enough to get a loan deal to Fulham, and he scored a couple of goals in a poor Fulham team in the Premier League. I believe at Stoke, he didn't actually do all that much, to be fair, so I will give you that one. But I just feel like when I watched with Josh Maja, and yes, it was in League One, but remember, he was also 18 or 19 years old at the time, and he's likely to be more mature now. It depends on it, because he's had a payday going to Bordeaux, let's be honest, he's had a payday over the last 4.5 years, and it hasn't really clicked as much for him as he would have wanted to. But with Maja, apparently he wants to return to England, and there's clubs in England that are interested in signing him. Now, if we had to pay a fee, I wouldn't be all over this. And I'm going to steal from James Copley from the Raw podcast, so thanks very much, mate. I'm stealing it from you. For me, for a loan, for a free transfer, I think we'd be foolish not to look at this. I think the way he plays, the way that he's good at holding the ball up, he can create his own chances. Again, it was in League One, but I can only judge off what I've seen. I think Maja would suit our system. I think Maja would suit the way we play because we are a team that creates chances. And if Maja's good at creating some of his own efforts, then I think we'd look even more dangerous going forward. Like I said, it's a thought. I know some fans won't be on board with this, and that's totally fine. I get why. But for me, for a free transfer, I think we could do a lot worse. And I think he's someone that would contribute at championship level. And the last one, and this again, we've had bids for, I think, is it Freegan, I don't know how you pronounce it, a £3.5 million bid, around that, rejected for that Croatian lad. And Tom Cannon, apparently we're looking at him, but again, the price range might be too high. The last one is Sam Surridge from Nottingham Forest. Now, with Sam Surridge, I looked this up right. In 21-22, which was his last championship season, in 37 appearances, he got 9 goals, 2 assists. Now, bearing in mind, half of the season, midway through that season, he went to Nottingham Forest, and he scored 8 goals in the run-up to them going to the Premier League. So he's got experience of getting a team promoted. He's someone we were linked with in January. And if I'm right, he went to Stoke. I'm just trying to have a look at I think he went to Stoke for around about the £2 million mark, but I might be wrong on that. And apparently he's got 1 year left on his deal at Nottingham Forest, if I am correct. So if I'm correct with all that, then for me, this is a player we should be looking at. And I can't imagine, in terms of transfer fees, this is the main one out of the 5 I've mentioned that we would pay a transfer fee for. But I would imagine a bid of maybe 1.5 to 2 million. Again, this is in theory. I don't know the ins and outs of this. And obviously, again, you've got to factor in wages with all these signings and various bonuses and clauses and stuff. But I think with Sam Surridge, he's someone we should be looking at. I think he would certainly be someone that would add value to the squad and add a bit of experience. Again, he's 24 years old. Although I believe he turns 25 in a couple of weeks, so we need to get a move on if we want to get him. But there you go, guys. That's my 5 signings I would like Sunderland to try and make this summer. Again, I'm not expecting us to even go for most of these, but these are 5 signings that I believe are cost effective, relatively speaking. And I know you got wages, but in terms of fees, they're cost effective. And they're players that I think, and every single one of them are players that I think, at least in theory, on paper, would add something to the squad. Let me know what you think down below. Would you go for any of these signings? And yeah, we'll see what happens. If we don't go for any of these, we don't go for any of these. But it's just something that I would look to, something I think we should be looking to do. Anyway, guys, I will love you, leave you there. Thanks very much for the support. It means a lot. And as I said earlier, half the people who watch according to the analytics aren't subscribed. So you think I've earned a sub from you? Hit that subscribe button because I'm trying to get a 5k subs and it would be massively appreciated. Anyway, guys, take care, stay safe, and once again, as always, how are the lads?